I never expected my own family to be the reason my life fell apart. When I left home 8 years ago, I told myself I'd never go back. I'd built a quiet life in Seattle. Small apartment, freelance photography gigs, a few friends who didn't ask too many questions. It wasn't perfect, but it was safe. Safe from the Morgans. But one morning, an envelope slipped under my door changed everything. No sender, no name, just a single photograph of my childhood home, with a red circle drawn around the backyard. Beneath it, a single sentence. You should see what they buried. At first, I thought it was a cruel prank. But when I flipped the photo over, I froze. Scribbled on the back was my father's signature. The same bold loops and hard slashes I'd memorized as a kid. He'd been dead for 6 years. My heart pounded. I packed a bag that night. Driving back to Willow Creek felt like watching an old movie you never wanted to see again. The same pine trees, the same cracked welcome sign, the same people pretending everything was fine. The Morgans had ruled this town for decades. My grandfather built the lumber mill, my father ran the local bank, and my brother Daniel now sat on the town council. They said the Morgans were a legacy family. But I knew better. Legacy was just another word for secrets buried deep enough that no one dared dig them up. When I pulled into the driveway of our old mansion, my chest tightened. The house looked smaller somehow, but colder too, like it had been holding its breath all these years. I didn't call before coming. I didn't plan to. The door swung open before I could knock. My mother stood there, elegant as ever in a pearl sweater, her expression caught between shock and annoyance. "Ella," she said, voice clipped. "You look, well." "I didn't come to look well," I said quietly. "I came to talk." She hesitated. "You picked a strange time. Daniel's having people over tonight, some council event. Then I'll make it quick." Inside, nothing had changed. Not the mahogany walls, not the faint scent of my father's cigars, not even the old portrait of our family above the fireplace. Except one thing was missing, the framed photo of me. I noticed the gap immediately. Mom followed my gaze. "We redecorated," she said too quickly. "Sure you did." We stood in silence until she sighed and gestured toward the sitting room. "Let's talk before your brother gets home." "What do you want, Ella?" I pulled the photo from my bag and slid it across the table. "I got this yesterday." Her face went pale. "Where did you get that?" "I was hoping you'd tell me." She reached for the picture, but I pulled it back. "There's something buried behind this house, isn't there?" I asked. "And you knew I'd find out." She blinked hard, her lips trembling before she forced a smile. "You've been gone a long time, sweetheart. Don't start chasing ghosts." Ghosts. Funny word. Because I could almost feel my father's presence in that room, heavy and unspoken. I stood. "If there's nothing to hide, you won't mind me looking around." "Don't you dare." But I was already walking toward the back door. The backyard looked exactly as it did when I was a teenager. Except the rose garden was gone. In its place, a patch of uneven dirt. My pulse quickened. Someone had tried to cover something, but not well. I crouched, digging at the soil with my bare hands. The dirt was soft, recently disturbed. Within seconds, my nails hit metal. I brushed away more earth until the edge of a rusted tin box appeared. It was old, military style. Heavy, locked, and on top, in faded black marker, was one word. EM, my initials. I stared at it, heart racing. What could my family have buried with my name on it? Before I could pry it open, a voice cut through the night. "Still digging where you don't belong, huh? Daniel." He stood by the porch, hands in his pockets, eyes cold. "I could say the same," I shot back. He smirked. "You shouldn't have come back." I lifted the box. "Looks like I have a reason to." He stepped forward, his jaw tight. "Put that down. You don't know what you're messing with." "I think I do. Whatever's in here, it's the reason you framed me, isn't it?" Daniel's expression flickered. Just for a second. Enough to confirm it. He took another step closer, voice low. "You don't want to dig up the past, Ella. Some things are better left buried. Not when they ruin someone's life." He sighed. "You've always been dramatic." That word again, dramatic. The word he'd used when he told everyone I'd stolen money from Dad's trust fund before disappearing. I'd lost everything because of it. My reputation, my college scholarship, my friends. I straightened. I'm done letting you decide what story gets told. Daniel's smirk faded. If you open that box, you'll destroy this family. Maybe it's time it was destroyed. He reached for the box, but I stepped back, clutching it tight. Touch me and I swear, Daniel, he froze. The sound of tires on gravel interrupted us. A black car pulled into the driveway. 2 men in suits stepped out, not locals. Daniel's face drained of color. Who are they? I demanded. He didn't answer. The men approached, nodding politely. Ms. Morgan? We're with the State Financial Crimes Division. We need to ask you a few questions about your father's estate. I blinked. What? Daniel cut in fast. You're making a mistake. She doesn't... But one of the agents raised a file. Actually, Mr. Morgan, we have reason to believe your family was involved in misappropriating funds from the Willow Creek Relief Project. And Ms. Morgan's name appears in several of the records. My blood ran cold. What? Daniel looked furious. That's impossible. The agent nodded politely. We'll need both of you to come with us. I looked down at the box in my hands. My initials. My name in the records. My father's ghost in every lie. Whatever was buried here. Whatever they tried to erase, it was bigger than I imagined. I clutched the box tighter and followed the agents to their car. Daniel hissed under his breath as we walked. You don't know what you've done. I met his glare. No, Daniel, you don't know what you've done. As the car door shut, my mother stood frozen on the porch, tears glistening on her cheeks. And for a brief second I saw it, the truth behind her eyes. She knew. She always knew. That night, as we drove toward the state office, the storm outside thickened. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the tin box on my lap. I traced the faded letters. E.M., my name, my curse, my key. Whatever they buried, it was time to dig it up, once and for all. When I got back home that night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Dad's face, pale, cold, and terrified. When I told him I'd found the hidden room, something inside me whispered that this wasn't just about money or property. It was something much darker. The next morning, I went to the attic, the one my mother had always said was off limits. The door was locked, but years away had taught me more than just independence. I had learned how to open locks. Inside, I found boxes upon boxes, most filled with old photo albums, dusty awards, and half-broken keepsakes. But one small wooden chest stood out. It had my initials carved into it. EMI froze. I didn't remember ever owning it. When I opened it, the air turned heavy, and my hands trembled. Inside were pictures. Dozens of them. All of me. From when I was little. But in every photo, there was a pattern. My mother was smiling, but her eyes weren't on me. They were on the woman beside me. A woman I didn't recognize. Blonde hair, same facial structure, same birthmark near her neck. It was like looking at an older version of me. I turned one photo around, and on the back, written in shaky handwriting, it said, Ella's twin, never to be mentioned. My knees almost gave out. Twin. I had never heard a word about a twin. Not once in my 23 years. I ran downstairs, chest pounding. Mom was in the kitchen, sipping her morning tea like everything was fine. Who is she? I demanded, slamming the photo on the counter. Who's this girl? Her face drained of color. She didn't even try to hide the panic. Where did you... She began, but I cut her off. Don't lie to me. I found the box. You kept it hidden all these years. She trembled. For a long moment, she just stared at the picture. Then she whispered something that broke every remaining piece of my heart. She was your sister, Ella. Your twin. Her name was Lily. My mouth went dry. Was. Mom closed her eyes. She died when you were 6. No, I said automatically. No one dies and gets erased from photos, birthdays, memories. You erased her. Tears streamed down her face. We didn't erase her, we had to. Your father? He made me promise. I could barely speak. Why? She looked around nervously, as if Dad could walk in any second. Then, in a trembling voice, she said, "Because he was the reason she died." The world seemed to tilt. He what? Mom's voice cracked. "It was an accident. A boating trip. He took you both out that day. Only one came back." My whole body went numb. "You're telling me my father killed my sister?" She nodded slowly, sobbing now. "He told the police it was an accident. And they believed him. But I knew better. He was drunk, Ella. He was always drunk back then. When he came back with you, he said Lily slipped and fell. But her bruises, they weren't from a fall." I could barely breathe. I stumbled back, clutching the counter. My mind flashed to every happy family photo, every Christmas, every word of love he'd ever said, all of it suddenly drenched in lies. I didn't even realize I'd left the house until I was halfway to Dad's office. He was sitting at his desk, reading emails, acting like the world hadn't just shattered. "Dad," I said, my voice shaking. "Who was Lily?" He froze. His hands stopped moving. The color drained from his face. Then, without looking up, he said quietly, "Where did you hear that name?" "I found the box. I talked to Mom." He sighed, heavy and slow. "I told her never to tell you." "Why? Because you killed her?" He stood up, eyes wide. "Watch your mouth. I know what you did." I screamed. "You left her to die. You erased her like she never existed." He slammed his fist on the desk. "It was an accident, Ella. You don't know what happened." "Then tell me," I said through gritted teeth. "Tell me why you let Mom live with that lie for 20 years. His voice broke. "Because it wasn't just me out there that day. It was you too." My heart dropped. "What? You were there," he whispered. "You two were fighting over a toy." She fell into the water. "I jumped in, but..." His voice faltered. I could only save one, my vision blurred. My own memory started flickering, bits and flashes of that day. The sound of laughter, the splash, my father screaming Lily's name. He fell back into his chair. "I couldn't live with the truth, Ella. You blamed me once. You cried and screamed that I killed her. So I made you forget. I burned everything, changed everything. I couldn't lose you too. For a long time I didn't say anything. I just stared at the man I once called my hero, realizing he wasn't a murderer out of hate, but a coward out of guilt. But I couldn't forgive him, not after all the years of lies. I deserve to know," I whispered. "I know," he said quietly, "and I deserve your hate." I left the office without looking back. That night, I sat alone in my old bedroom, my chest tight, my mind racing. Every wall, every photo, every memory was now poisoned. But something inside me wasn't content just knowing the truth. I wanted the world to know. They tried to bury Lily like she never existed. I wasn't going to let them succeed. So I did something that would change everything. I found old town records, hospital archives, even police reports. I pieced together everything they'd hidden, every lie, every forged document. Then I wrote it all down in a letter, a confession, and I sent copies to everyone, the local newspaper, the mayor's office, the police department. The truth went public. Within a week, reporters were camping outside our house, cameras flashing, microphones shoved forward. Mom was crying. Dad's law firm fired him. They begged me to stop, to say it was all made up. But I didn't, because Lily deserved justice, even if it came 20 years late. The night before I left town again, I visited her grave for the first time. It was a small, forgotten headstone covered in moss. I cleaned it off and placed a single white flower. "I found you," I whispered. "And now, everyone else will too." As I walked away, the morning sun hit the graveyard, lighting up her name. For the first time in years, I felt free.